Hi everyone, hope distance learning is going okay for you guys so far. I am going to try to talk a little fast in this video so I can keep it under 5 minutes. But if I go too fast or too slow, you can speed it up or slow it down or pause it as we go. So we're talking about the hydraulic cycle. I want to go over the slides with you guys so that you have any questions you might have can be answered. So first on your guided notes, hopefully you all found the guided notes. You're going to want to write in your Bible verse. This is just my Bible verse, my example of Bible verses from that book that I gave you guys, from what you have told to me in the past when I had each of you tell me what Bible verse you're studying about and how that relates to science and how it shows that the Bible confirms what science says. And the Bible has stood the test of time and has so many scientific truths in there. We need to know this, and I want you guys to at least have your verse ready to go. It will be on your test. Be ready to recite your verse and give the explanation that goes along with it. So let me know if you have any questions on that. Let's go through your guided notes. About half of you have turned these in, the other half have not, and that is okay. They're not due yet, but definitely going through them with the slides might be helpful into answering any questions. So we're going to talk about the hydrosphere. This is the sum of all the water on the planet. So where does all this water come from? Take a look at table 5.1. There are three main parts of the earth that this water comes from. Oceans, 97.3%, freshwater, and then groundwater. So freshwater is where most of our drinking water is stored in glaciers and icebergs. It's about 2%, and then groundwater is about 0.8%. This is the largest source of liquid freshwater. The other sources are frozen. We're going to talk quickly here about the hydraulic cycle. This is the process where water is continuously exchanged between Earth's various water sources. So what we're talking about here is this cycle here. Evaporation starts here. When water is heated to a high enough degree, it'll turn into gassy vapors, and it'll raise through a process called convection. And as it gets higher, it can hold less water vapor, and it'll start to grab onto other particles in the atmosphere, and it gets it's called condensation. And that's when a cloud will form. The clouds will undergo this condensation to the point where it starts to rain or precipitate, and that's called precipitation over here. And then as you can see, then water falls to the ground, and here's what happens. There's runoff from where the water has gone, connecting back into a lake or a stream or the ocean, and then evaporation will occur, and the cycle starts all over again. This is a more complicated way to show that. There's a lot more going on in the hydraulic cycle, so take a look at this. It's very interesting. You will not need to label all of these. You'll mainly need to know evaporation, condensation, precipitation, runoff, and also transpiration, which we'll get to in a little bit here. Here we go. So transpiration, this is when it comes from like a tree or plant life. This is a process of water movement through a plant, and it's evaporation from parts like leaves, stems, and flowers. Precipitation, and water falling from the atmosphere as rain, snow, sleet, or hail. And condensation is the process where gas turns into a liquid. Kind of touched on all of those here. And this gets us into how clouds form. Now, we've listened to the cloud song in class. You know that you can recite or write down the information from the cloud song in place of your test. And this is the only unit, at least in my class, that you will ever have an opportunity to do that in place of a test. So you might want to take advantage of that. Otherwise, if you really feel confident and you like taking tests, you can take the test. So it is your choice. So clouds forms. The sun heats water, and evaporation occurs with transpiration, causing water vapor to go into the atmosphere. It then forms clouds by a process we call condensation.